Today, we're going to watch a video from Jeremy Lafarve from the Financial Education channel. I'm speeding it up a little bit, so it's about 20 minutes with it sped up. He's going to talk about why he believes that we're going to bounce heading into next week. I actually believe that too. I'm going to show you some additional charting too, and just some other stats that show that we're ready to bounce. We could have a down day heading into Monday, but I really do believe that after that, maybe by Tuesday, we've got a lot of really interesting earnings coming up from some of the biggest tech companies in the world, including Tesla, and I actually think they're going to shock to the upside. He articulates some good reasons why, and I'm going to include a few of my own. So without further ado, here is Jeremy.
The NASDAQ just had its worst day in over 17 months. Wow. NASDAQ down 6% plus in the past 5 trading days. Tesla stock is down over 13 percentage points in the past 5 trading days. Tesla stock is now down 41.2% year to date. Palantir stock down 10% plus in the past 5 days. Amazon down almost 7% in the past 5 days. Meta down nearly 7% in the past 5 trading days. Netflix stock got hammered today, over 9% down. That stock is now down around, we can call it 12% in the past 5 days. And Nvidia, look at Nvidia, down 10 percentage points here today, down 14.5% in the past 5 trading days. I thought this was a great time to talk about the NASDAQ and some tech stocks, and actually why next week these stocks could absolutely go beast mode. The setup is absolutely pretty incredible for these stocks, and there could be some major upside ahead, and I want to talk about exactly what's about to transpire this week and kind of my views on this, as well as I'll give a little bit of a longer-term view as well, okay? Appreciate everybody joining me as always. Thanks so much for being here, folks. All I ask in return is for you to smash a like for this video. Smash that thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe.
Hey, that counts for me too, so smash a like. See you guys.
Subscribe to the channel. We got some stuff to get into here today, folks. I appreciate each and every one of you. So, they were showing this on CNBC here today. Nvidia lost $300 billion. This is just since Monday. $300 billion in market cap. Apple, $178 billion in market cap. Mr. Softy, about $170 billion in market cap. Amazon, amazing's on $125 billion in market cap. Meta, $79 billion in market cap. Tesla, $77 billion. And Google, $42 billion. NASDAQ's worst day since March, or Nvidia's worst day since March of 2020, that's the Rona crash. So that's a pretty incredible thing. Like Nvidia had its worst day since that time period, right? Now, it's very interesting because just a few days ago, I'd actually put this message out to the private group in the private group's Discord chat. I said, in the markets, at all times, you must be prepared for your portfolio to lose 60% of its value. If you can't do that, then you can't invest. You must always be prepared for insane losses in the short term. If you have a $500,000 portfolio, could you handle if that portfolio went to $200,000 in an epic crash? If the answer is no, then you can't be in the pool. If the answer is yes, then you're a sick freak like me and you're ready for whatever market. And I put that.
Now, I do agree with that. You should always be ready for a major crash. I don't actually think we're headed towards that right now, but I do think that's good advice. And again, Nvidia have like a biggest drop since March of 2020. Like, these things are impactful, and a lot of the times when you overshoot to the downside as hard as we have in the last week, you end up getting a strong bounce.
Because I thought there was a message that was really needed out there at that particular time. And I'll put it to you like this, okay? What has gone on this past week or so is extremely healthy and is extremely needed.
Agreed.
In the market. It's very similar to us getting sick, right? Us as humans, we get sick from time to time, right? Maybe a few times a year. And one of the few great things about getting sick is when you get better, you appreciate your health, because a lot of times we can take it for granted until it's taken away from us. And then we're like, oh. And so when it comes to the market, many times we can take for granted these great markets, right? We get very impatient and we forget about when we get sick sometimes and get slapped in the face. And so that's why I put out that message. And then this came on top of it. So it was absolutely perfect. This is needed in the market. It's a must. And you can kind of come back, build back stronger, build back healthier, corrections in the market, falls in the market. These all happen over time, okay?
I will agree, and we'll look at some charts in a little bit here that just show that it's a good thing that the market retraced. It actually sets us up for a longer bull cycle, not a shorter one. We want these kind of retraces every once in a while without just parabolic movement higher. It just means that we have more room to run.
Now, a big component that they blamed why the market fell this week, and keep in mind, media is always going to find whatever to blame it on, but the big reason they're blaming it on is what's going on in Israel-Iran situation, right? And then what that could do for oil prices, what that could do for inflation, higher for longer, all those sorts of things. Does the stock market actually truly care about Israel or Iran? The truth is the stock market really doesn't. But in the short term, it'll make you believe that, because we've got to blame.
Yeah, it actually does care. I mean, it cares in regard to oil, right? It gives it the ability to have fear. The threat of World War III, people were talking about potential attack on nuclear facilities this last week. So, I mean, the world does, the markets do care about that. But again, it's also just a good reason to send markets lower, and the technicals did scream that we should go lower. So Kind of makes sense.
Blame it on something. At the end of the day, I always tell people, if the market wants to go down, it will find whatever reason it can latch onto at that particular time to have it go down. And if you can latch it onto this, then you can send stocks down. But here's the thing. The worry is like, oh, this is a bad situation, could get uglier, could cause oil prices to spike. Oil price has actually gone down considerably over the past couple of weeks. So that whole notion about, let's blame it on this is why the market's going down. It doesn't hold weight. If oil was $90 right now, 95, 98, you say, okay, I get it. But at $83 and actually down considerably versus where oil price was.
Yeah, but to be fair, the price dropped considerably for a reason. If we look at oil here, it skyrocketed when we had the threat with Iran and Israel and an escalation. It went up to like 85, 86 from 81. So it did jump a lot, but then once they realized that was a limited attack, it dropped off substantially. So that's a key difference.
Was just a few weeks ago that just doesn't hold weight at the moment. And so I just think that's a little food for thought there, okay? Now, there's a lot going on here, and here's why stocks could absolutely go beast mode, specifically tech, specifically NASDAQ, specifically this week, okay? So, first off, in regards, it all starts before we get into Tesla. It starts with this situation. If there's no major escalation here, that could be very bullish for the market next week because then that whole talk and risk out there is at least taken away in the short term, right? But then Tuesday after the bell, it starts. Tesla, my Tesla. The first of the big dogs is reporting. Tuesday after the bell. Now, the stock's down 41.2%, and we're in the fourth month of the year. We're in April right now. That's a penny stock type move. That's something you would expect from a penny stock. Like it just really got out of favor and no one wanted to own that stock and there was just way too much selling pressure on it.
I mean, that is fair. Down 41%, 41.2% from the beginning of the year is definitely crazy. I get why people's emotions are so strong on Tesla too. Again, I sold my options at the beginning of the year and then I started buying in, the latter part, especially like in the last month. But I get why people have suffered because, again, 41.2% just from the beginning of the year is pretty insane when you buy a stock and you think it's bouncing again and then you just get utterly crushed. But that is what happened.
And so I moved down 41% to start a year in April. You don't expect that for a massive company like a Tesla, right? But that's what's going on. That's what we have to deal with, right? When that move happens, you got to understand expectations are as low gets for Tesla. Like, I can't imagine a situation where the expectations going in this earnings, everybody is expecting bad numbers. If you listen to commentary from Tesla.
All right, real quickly, I've just got to agree with him on this 100%. Every time I post stuff about Tesla and talk positive about it, everybody, like 95% of people are like, oh, it's going to keep crashing. It's going to keep crashing. It's not even a good company anymore. Like, look at the growth is gone. Everything's busted. I'm going to buy, but I'm going to buy after earnings go down really hard. Everybody is saying that. Everybody. And usually everybody isn't right in markets. The herd is usually wrong and in the wrong side of history. So when it comes to investing, that's just how it works. They're on the wrong side and then we overcorrect to the other side and then they become super bullish and then it's time to start selling and like you could counter trade the herd a decent amount of times. So it's very interesting that everybody thinks that we're going down.
From just about anybody in regards to Tesla. I don't know one Tesla bull that is excited about these numbers. I don't know one Tesla bear that is scared about these earnings. Not one on either side. So everybody and the grandma is all expecting dumpster fire of a quarter from Tesla and poor guidance if they give any guidance, okay? The expectations are 6 feet deep under the ground right now, okay? Now, in regards to numbers,
we got to love bad expectations, guys.
Deal. EPS is expected to be down 41+% in this quarter versus last year. Next quarter, the expectation is also insanely low at nearly 31% EPS down. And I honestly think Wall Street's even more bearish than these numbers show. I really do, okay? Now, if we look at this current quarter, revenue is expected to be down 4.4%, analysts are at, and the next quarter expected to grow revenue a whole 1%, okay? So I feel like the commentary from folks out there is even more bearish than these bearish numbers. And that's just a little food for thought there, okay? Now, here's where things can completely flip and change in the situation, because I honestly think the numbers mean nothing. In the short term, I do not think anybody's going to see Tesla's EPS or see Tesla's revenue and be like, I got to sell the stock. Those people already sold the stock. They already have, okay? And everybody's expecting trash numbers for next quarter as well. But if you're talking about all of a sudden getting buying pressure out there, some people that maybe have gotten out of the stock and are waiting to get back in, or some people that are looking at this, maybe some big money out there saying, might want to take a look at this one, I might want to grab some shares. There is something that could happen on the conference call that could start attracting major money and cause the stock to rise rapidly the day after earnings. And that is a big thing. If Elon and the team come out and say margins are going to improve in the second half of the year, profitability per car is going to improve in the back half of the year, it would be monumental for the stock.
And yeah, so I actually think this is a really good point. Sorry, Jeremy, that's not the most flattering pause. But I actually think this is a really good point. And again, I made a Tesla video earlier today. Take a look at it if you want. I think I made a lot of really good cases for why they're switching to software as a service and why they're leading with AI, autonomy, and robotics, and at just an insane pace that people aren't ready for, and how it's going to help margins a lot. But I totally agree with this. Again, I'm gonna pay $40,000 more for a Cybertruck. I still don't even know when I'm getting mine, but I'm gonna pay 40 grand more than I was gonna pay 4.5 years ago when I was expecting it to be $60,000. I'm getting essentially the same truck. Some things are better, some things are a little bit worse, but essentially the same truck. But I'm willing to pay 40,000 more for it, and I can't even get an ETA on when I'm gonna get it because there's so much demand with people that are willing to pay all this extra money, 20,000 extra to the base, and then an extra 20,000 to get the foundation series. And it's like they're offsetting the expense of their ramp with this. And that's something they've never done before. And I don't think people are factoring that in, or the fact that they're going to be able to ramp really quickly with the way that they're working on this. These guys are pros. They've been doing this. They've done many product ramps, and this is a primary focus for them. And they waited a long time to get it started for a reason. So there's been a lot of iterations to get us to this point, and I think people just, they're not factoring in how good margins might be on the Cybertruck, let alone all these other services that are getting spun up from the supercharging infrastructure, and the fact that we're charging third-party manufacturers now, people that have these other EVs, a subscription fee if they want to get the same rates that I get with my Tesla, or they have to pay more when they charge, but they're going to use these charging networks. Yeah, thumbs up, because they have to, because the other ones suck. Electrify America and all these others are garbage. So he's right. There, you got that coming in as a service. You got a $10 a month premium connectivity. You got $100 a month FSD. I already see people saying, I'm actually interested in buying FSD now because I see how good it is, because they did these 30-day free trials, or they just got the latest version and they're like, whoa. And they're like, I should lock it in while I can, especially since it dropped from 12 to 8. I should buy that now so that I don't have to spend a lot more later, because I can see how quickly this is escalating. I mean, we're on 12.35 now with employees, and 12.4 is coming soon. And Elon's saying that that should be a 13. So like, we're progressing quicker than I could ever imagine. I don't think people are counting this in. I think Tesla is going to be a buy the news event. And I don't think people are used to that, especially with Tesla. So they're going to be off sides, and then they're probably going to chase. And the technicals show that we're probably forming a bottom too. And I see people like James the Cat and other people that are just so depressed, saying that we're going to $80, or again, I said 69 before, but I said that as like a crazy like 5% chance. Or some people saying $40. It's insane.
That would put a floor under it. Everybody knows, okay, Q1, Q2 are the floor. Elon and the team, they say things are going to get better in the back half of the year. That means the price cuts are over. That means, if anything, price rises are in the future. And that means Tesla, at least for the current lineup, is really going to be focused much more on profitability. And Wall Street would take that as a huge win in this situation, because the worry is Elon's just going to keep dropping prices. The team's just going to keep dropping prices again and again and again. And it's just a race to the bottom, and Tesla loses all margins, okay? So that would be monumental if they committed to that in the conference call or in the shareholder letter, either. Now, another major thing is if Elon and the team basically say Cybertruck's ready for a major ramp in the second half of the year. If they feel confident they're going to be able to continue to ramp that baby over this quarter we're in right now, over the next 3 months, and then starting in the summer, they can go, pretty epic mode with how many Cybertrucks they can start producing. That could definitely make shareholders start to perk up and be like, ooh, okay, Cybertruck ramp. And if you could have something additional come out about, let's say somebody on the management team, the CFO or somebody, make some comments around Cybertruck margins could be extremely accretive to the company, meaning basically just a fancy way of saying very helpful to the company's numbers, that could be substantial as well. So if you could have those things come together there, which I don't think that's a stretch.
Or, I got another thing, Jeremy, or like a robo-taxi day on August 8th, where they talk about maybe the potential of having, I don't know, a ride-hailing app, or maybe they talk a little bit about the Model 2, or maybe they talk about, an actual robo-taxi that might be in metropolitan areas. But these are all things that would be accretive to the price and give them higher margins, substantially higher. And Tesla, as we know, makes $7,500 per car, which is way above the industry standard. Most of these other companies, if you average them out, are making nothing under $1,000 on average for these EV makers. Some of them are losing double digit, 10,000 plus dollars per vehicle, especially that they're sitting on dealer lots and getting discounted to fuck. So the fact that Tesla can make $7,500 a vehicle is astounding. And once they start getting subscriptions on there too, that's really crazy. Because then they can start making $1,200 a year in reoccurring revenue when these other motherfuckers can't even get that by selling the car.
I think that would be massive for the stock. And I think even though the numbers would be trash and everybody would be reporting how much Tesla's revenue is down and the earnings per share is down, even though that would be the report,
it's all about forward guidance and where they're headed.
You could see the stock actually go up 7, 10, 15% the next day if you had this sort of commentary. Are we going to get that sort of commentary is a big question. But if we got that, and once again, I don't think it's crazy to imagine. I can definitely see a situation where margins are improving in the back half of the year, profitability of the company is improving in the back half of the year. And I can definitely see a situation where Cybertruck's production gets up to some pretty insane levels in the second half of the year. So I don't think that's far-fetched. And I'm telling you, if he comes out and commits that, it's huge, huge for the stock. Secondly, he already kind of did on X, but he needs to do it in that conference call. He needs to kill off any of these rumors about Tesla's not going to produce a cheaper vehicle and any of that crap.
100%. Even if it's delayed, he needs to just word it right. He just needs to literally say, that's still a focus and a priority of ours, but we want most of our attention on this. We're still working on that behind the scenes. It won't slow down the progress. If he says anything like that, it's going to be super fucking bullish because the news media has basically said the Model 2 is done. So think about what happens if he says that it isn't.
That's still out there being talked about. So I even heard Dan Ives talking about it on the Reaction channel today. I'm like, what the heck is he talking about? He needs to kill off all those rumors. If he can do that, that gets the longer term focused people like excited about what Tesla has going on as well, right? Because we do know the robotaxi opportunity is insane. August 8th, we're going to see what that's all about. But also, let's be honest, if they can have this robotaxi that's available for the masses as well at a price point of, in the 20s, brand new, I mean, the market share they could grab. I've always talked about this vehicle, and people used to laugh at me, and I said they need a two-seat vehicle, very small, very compact, little room in the back for a suitcase or two, and that's it. And it needs to have 150 miles of range, and that's it. And so small battery pack, small car, produce it really affordably, put the great tech that Tesla has in there, and watch sales volumes go absolutely insane, because I can tell you there's such a need for this sort of car in the market right now, because the fact is most people never use their other seats. Drive around in any city in the United States of America and you'll realize it's one person driving that car, maybe two. And so that's the robotaxi opportunity. But he needs to kill off all rumors about, Tesla's not doing it, Tesla's not going to produce a cheaper vehicle, those sorts of things, okay? So that's huge. So Tesla's set up for some potential major upside this week, even though the sentiment couldn't be worse right now.
I 100% agree with Jeremy on this. I think, again, sentiment being as poor as it is, with broader markets looking like they're ready to bounce, and I'll show you some charts with that in a little bit here, combined with what other tech companies could do, it's a formula for going up.
Yeah. But I'll tell you this, man. SMA's been investing in this company for a long time. The sentiment in Tesla can turn so freaking fast, you have no freaking clue, okay? I've watched this stock turn from ultra levels of bearishness to ultra levels of bullishness, and it's like, how did that happen? Like, it happened so quick. I've watched people talking about Tesla's going to be a $10 trillion company, you're going to be able to retire on Tesla shares, to those same exact people suddenly flipping and saying, Tesla's not even worthy of an investment. It happens really quick, really quick. And so the sentiment you're seeing in front of you right now that is so negative in regards to Tesla, I'm just telling you guys, in 6 months, 3 months, 9 months, 12 months, it can be completely different than where that sentiment is today. And I've watched it flip several ways, several times over the past 7-8 years. I can tell you that much, okay? So Tesla could roll. Now, also Tuesday after the bell, everybody's focus is going to be obviously on Tesla, but there's another extremely important company reporting. Its name is Visa. Visa is money. That's what we'll call it. Visa is money, right? Transactions all over the world. Visa is the big dog. They're reporting after the bell. Now, Visa needs to come in, and this could help out the NASDAQ tremendously. They need to report good numbers, but not too good of numbers. And I know that's weird, but basically Visa's got to come out. They got to report really good numbers, but it can't be too good. And the reason it can't be too good is because if it's too good, then people are going to say, the economy's too hot, inflation. So they need to have this perfect kind of balancing act of there's no recession in sight, guidance is good, numbers are good, consumer looks healthy, blah, blah, blah. But then they also need to not be too good where people are like, oh my gosh, the consumer's doing too well, I guess, okay? So that's going to matter as long as Visa usually comes in and just reports great numbers. As long as they come in and do their business, you aren't getting any tells of recession there, and you also, numbers aren't too good, that could help out stocks tremendously. There's a lot of big money that's going to be looking at those Visa numbers. Now, on Wednesday after the bell, I saw a lot of memes over the past day. They said Zuck went from Mr. Steal Your Data to Mr. Steal Your Girl. Oh gosh, that's so funny. Meta's reporting after the bell on Wednesday. My big dog, okay? Now, Meta sets up tremendously going into these earnings, okay? Check this out. So, Meta's at a forward P of like 23 right now, right? This is taken from 1000xstocks.com, which, by the way, 1000xstocks.com, I think we're getting close to 200 people on the waitlist now for that. If you want to join the waitlist for 1000xstocks.com, you can go to 1000xstocks.com and join the waitlist. I think we're close to 200 deep, and we got our first, folks using the service, and we should get some more folks tomorrow in the service as well. So, Meta It's not trading at a high valuation at all going into these earnings. And that's beautiful. I know the stock price is going to be, but the valuation, not high at all for this company. So that sets up well, because if Meta was trading at a 39 forward PE, it might feel different. I might feel like, that could come down a bit. Next thing you know, we could be, let's call it forward PE. We could pull down to a forward PE at 32 if the stock crash big or something like that. Is Meta going to go down in any substantial way, go down to a forward PE at 20? I don't think so, because the bottom line is already very undervalued, right? No, if we look at the numbers, the setup's great here. I love this setup for Meta. So this current quarter we're in, 26% revenue growth expected for the company. I think they got that. If they don't get me started, if they come in with a freaking 3 in front of that number, 600 quick. 600 quick. I'm not gonna go there. I think they're gonna have a 2. I think it's gonna be 20-something% growth. But I'm telling you, if they come in with a 30% growth number, it's game over. Meta 600 plus, and it's 600 plus in like a very short amount of time. So 26% revenue growth, but I love this setup because then analysts are they're at less than 20% next quarter, right? Now keep in mind, political spend is going to be coming in. Now when that political spend comes in, it's not just
This is the important part that I want people to hear. I think he's spot on with this in regard to Meta, even though I think the valuation is already pretty juicy and pretty high. The fact that we're going to have probably what I believe is record political spend on advertising for this year, I think it's going to be more than we've ever seen before. I think that could turn out to be really beneficial to a company like Meta. And if Meta is doing really great, that probably helps some of the general markets too.
It's about, the money that's
It's also a good sign for everybody else that's in advertising, including Google.
being generated from the political spend. It's about then there's going to be a lot more ads that need to be shown, right? Which is going to push up pricing for then businesses and companies, right? That's the way the model works. It's kind of like almost like an auction. And if politicians need to get out there and run their ads, and companies also need to run their ads, who's going to get shown? Who's going to get shown? Whoever pays up more, right? Which could definitely be very accretive to ARPU. It could be very accretive to what advertisers are going to be willing to pay. It's either you get seen or you don't get seen. And as a company or a business or a politician, you have no choice but to be seen. So you've got to pay up. So less than 20% the June quarter. Then September quarter, less than 15% revenue growth expected. And then December quarter, 12.5% revenue growth expected. This setup is phenomenal. It's phenomenal for Meta. I love this. So we're going in.
Yeah, it looks like a sandbag, honestly. It looks like it's really set up well.
Into this earnings with a stock that's not overvalued, and we're going in with a great setup like this where the stock's down going into the earnings, and we've got a situation simultaneously where the revenue expectations just go down and down and down throughout the year. So it could be a year where Meta just sets up to just beat those numbers throughout the year, right? Now on top of that, EPS is another tremendous setup, right? Obviously, an explosion of EPS in these 2 quarters, when they're about to report here, and next quarter as well, because these had a lot of one-time costs associated with the cost-cutting measures they did and things like that, right? So 97%, 58%. This might be where you see some sort of epic beat from Meta that no one really had foreseen. You might see something more epic here than actually on the revenue line, by the way. But then September and December quarters, 12.5%, 15%. That doesn't even make sense. For instance, September quarter, analysts are at 15% revenue growth, and yet they're at 12.5% EPS growth. That doesn't even make sense. If Meta's buying back shares, that's going to help them out tremendously. Now, on top of that, this doesn't make any sense. I'm like, okay, you guys can put up whatever numbers you want, but it's just like this to me is like investing 102 type stuff, maybe not 101. That might be a little more base level, but to me, I just see these arbitrage opportunities. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? They think Meta's going to have better revenue growth than EPS growth? It doesn't even make sense. Oh my gosh. And so the setup for Meta is epic. I love this. My gosh. And then the December quarter, 15% EPS growth with 12.5% revenue growth. I mean, what a setup. That's the thing I love. It's not just about this quarter we're in. It's about the setup of next quarter, the following quarter, the back half of the year, right? Things are looking really good. Now, once again, if they come in and smash on EPS and they beat revenue, right? Well, then suddenly analysts are going to start upping all these numbers as well, right? Which will put more, then they're also going to have to come out, upgrade the stock. They're going to have to come out and, they're going to have to raise their target prices. They're going to have to come out and say it's a buy and it's a strong buy and just move more bullish, right? So setup's tremendous for Meta. Now, also on the conference call, I can almost guarantee you they're going to talk about Llama 3 again and again and again. Now, some are going to understand what Zuckerberg and the team are talking about in regards to Llama 3. Some won't, and that's fine. But
yeah, I do agree with that too. I think they're going to be talking about Llama 3. I think the AI narrative is going to help drive them. And again, I think the ARPU, the money that they're going to be making for advertising is going to be huge this year. And again, with Google and just a bunch of other companies, I think advertising is going to be huge.
But the people that will understand, I think it's going to matter for them significantly in regards to situation. Now, here's the deal, okay? Who's NVIDIA's biggest customer, or at least one of their biggest customers? It would be Meta, right? Now, NVIDIA could actually rally big on the back of Meta results. So let's say
Yep, I have to agree with this too. I think a lot of the Magnificent Seven is probably going to do really good this earnings. We'll see if that holds up, but I do believe that's going to happen. If you look at Netflix wasn't even bad. The only problem with Netflix was they said that they were going to remove their subscriber numbers going forward because they didn't want to be held to that standard all the time. And so that's not even happening, I don't think, until next year. And it hurt their stock price a lot, but their earnings were fine. Their guidance was fine.
Revenue and earnings per share is even better than expected. So let's say they actually up their CapEx a little bit. And let's say, they even mentioned something around, buying even more chips or things like that, right? Well, that could benefit NVIDIA. Phenomenal, right? At the end of the day, Meta's buying every chip it can from NVIDIA right now. And they're not the only ones. It's just about every one of these big tech companies. I mean, literally, NVIDIA couldn't send them enough chips, right? And I'd almost guarantee you Meta's going to be getting NVIDIA's newest, highest end chips as well, right? If you want to compete with ChatGPT, it's an arms race. And the arms race starts with NVIDIA, right? And so, Microsoft has to battle back. And at the end of the day, it all comes back to NVIDIA. And so NVIDIA is the one that benefits. And so all of a sudden, NVIDIA could go on a major run this week as well, right? Now, on top of that, if Meta rolls, it could pull Google and Google along the way on Thursday during the trading day. These stocks are very connected in terms of the stock price move. So let's say Meta's up 8% on Thursday. It could easily pull Alphabet, Google, and Google up, 2, 3, 4%. Because people, especially if Meta comes out and beats on revenue, people will look and say, oh, Google could come out and beat as well. Especially if Meta had good things to say about the guidance, then people will basically front run Google's earnings, which Google earnings are Thursday after the bell. Okay. Now, in regards to Google and Google, it's another stock that's not trading at a high valuation at all either. Forward P is like 22 on this one. It's a dosey too. I mean, come on, baby. That's easy. That's cake. This is easy, sleepy numbers for Google and Google. Remember, Google, up until recently, has always been a company that pretty consistently grows around the 20% mark when it comes to their revenue. So as far as where analysts are at, 12%, 11% for next quarter, 11% for the December quarter, 10%. I mean, this is an easy, sleepy setup for Google and Google here as well. So Google could roll as well. And here's the beautiful thing. Now, you got to see these stocks all pull each other down over this past week, right? And you got to see, this stock pulls down this stock, and this stock pulls down this stock. It works that way, but it also works the other way in regards to positive, right?
Yep.
Here's the deal. If Meta reports great numbers, right, it's going to pull up Google on Thursday. Then if let's say, Google then reports great numbers, then it could actually pull Meta on Friday, right? And then Meta and Google together can pull NVIDIA, especially if they at least confirm they're spending as much on chips as they thought and on CapEx in general, or if they even up that amount a little bit. Because let's say revenue is trending better. Let's say the business is trending better, so they're going to up CapEx another $1, 2, 3, $4 billion. That's just going to pull NVIDIA along with it. So
I would say this, even starting before Meta, imagine if Tesla's forward guidance is positive enough where it goes higher on Tuesday. And then we just see this cascade from Meta to Google and NVIDIA, and everything's just going to keep on cascading on top of itself. And my argument is that we're actually set up to do that really well. I'm probably going to bail out of the rest of this video of his, but I don't want to sell you his course or anything. But I had a post here from my friend Seth Golden, another one over the weekend. It says the red, white, and blue land of opportunity. Only 7% of tech stocks were trading above their 50 DMA. To the end of the week in bull markets. This is a fleeting opportunity as a bounce has proven eminently profitable. So what he's saying is we're ready for a bounce in tech, the exact same thing that you just saw from Jeremy a second ago. And when I'm looking over here too, the McClellan index, I brought this up just the other day, it's in the bounce zone. This is just another indicator saying that we're ready to go. It's an oscillator index. And then at the same time, we've got other ones. This is a long one, quantifiable edges, capitulative breadth indicator. There's a ton of indicators that are screaming that we are in oversold conditions and looking to go higher. And then if I look over here at oil, even today, look at this. So we had that massive drop from what was that? The 85s down to just have this, big wick. And then now we're dropping even more because nothing happened with Iran and Israel over the weekend, guys. So, and I said this, on Friday that we could see a further drop at least to the 200, maybe at the $80 range sometime this week. That downward pressure will be positive for markets. And then again, just looking at the NASDAQ, look at the drop this thing had. And we even got a little bit of a wick. I mean, we dropped over 8% in a very short period of time on the NASDAQ. This is a good zone for it to bounce from. If you look down here on the RSI, and again, we had bearish divergence the whole time. I was telling you guys this, right? I was telling you guys, hey guys, this year, I want to believe that things are going up. When I took the 750 grand out about a month ago, maybe it's a little bit less than that, I was saying we've got bearish divergence. I know we're going up, but there's a chance we go down, and I want to be able to buy some dip. And that's what I did. I am broke as shit now. I have no cash. So I made the bet this last week that the dip is over. And if you look here, you can see too that based on volume, we're kind of in this little crevasse. Sure, we could go lower. Maybe we could go to the fib, but I just don't see where the downward pressure is going to come from. So if we drop just a little bit on open to try and drop under 17, and then we start bouncing up, I mean, this thing's probably going to test higher, at least test up, towards the 17.4 range at the very least. And depending on how quick that happens, we could go up really quickly. Also, let's just look at Bitcoin and the way that it closed the week here. We had the halving event Friday night. We're sitting underneath this fib level. It would be nice to get above it. We were above it a little bit just this, today. But on the weekly candle here, this is the daily here that it's showing, but on the week we closed just a little bit below it. We could drop into Monday, but this is a nice looking pattern. If you look over here, I'll actually move this. This is the halving line, right? Like I'm trying to keep track of that. I'm just going to delete it for now. This pattern right here, where you have just massive wick, massive wick, massive wick, strong strength higher, massive wick, massive wick, massive wick, I would argue is a very bullish sign heading into this next week. Just all these wicks are a very bullish sign. Oh, hey, here soon with my stream deck, I'm going to have the ability to magnify, so I'll be able to zoom in on scenes like this and make it even clearer. But so we've got oil going down. We've got the NASDAQ looking like it went down hard and that it could be in a bounce zone. We've got Bitcoin looking ready to bounce. We've got Tesla right at oversold conditions on the weekly time frame for the fourth time in the company's history. There's only been 4 times you could do this, and after if you bought down here within a very short period of time, like this is a year here, we went from oversold conditions to incredibly overbought. And then over here, less like right around a year maybe, we were at 29 and then we were at 93. So if you look here, even down here, we were really oversold at 27, and then we made it all the way up to oversold to overbought conditions again with an over 200% increase. So yeah, smash the likes if you would. Thank you, Intelligent Computing. But yeah, so hey Sulis, welcome in. So if you look at this stuff, if you look at a lot of different indicators, it's saying we're in a bounce zone. Again, even fear and greed. If we look over here at fear and greed, we're real close to extreme fear. On Monday, if we had some bad news heading into the morning, we could be touching it. And then that would be a perfect bounce zone. Honestly, this might be the bounce zone here too. Either way, I feel way safer owning down here than I did up here, right? So I think people need to focus on some of this. They need to not get lost with all the noise. With all of your investments, you realize that there's a greater likelihood that we end up going up into next week than going down. I want to look at some other things real quick here. The dollar. The dollar closed down 0.03%. What will it do on Monday? I actually think it's going to go down a little bit on Monday because, again, we didn't have this major concern, this geopolitical risk with Iran and Israel. And if anything, it's quieted down. So as that happens, you're going to see the dollar start to decline because, again, people are rushing to it as a safe haven. Now, the move index, we'll see what happens. We closed underneath the 200 and the 100 moving average. I need to remember to update this one. Maybe I should just do that real quick while I'm talking to you here. But yeah, the 100 moving average, we closed underneath both of them, which is kind of like a slam dunk. I mean, you're definitely doing something when you're hitting that hard on that price action on the weekly close. Yeah, let me just fix these real quick. Both of these are kind of jacked up. All these are jacked up. What the heck happened here? Get that, get all my color coding. So if you guys don't know this, the dark orangish brown is the 200 moving average. Always the yellow is the 100 moving average. And then this other one right here is going to be the purple one. That's the 50 moving average. That's the way I have it set up on all my charts. Evidently all of them except for this one. So I'm just fixing that real quick. But I want to show these because they're really good indicators of kind of showing the shift in momentum. And I'm sorry, I guess it was the 50 and the 100. We're still under the 200 moving average now that I got the colors right. So this could act as support. It definitely did over here. But I could see us dicing in between this 100 and 200 range here for a while. And if we break underneath the 200, then that's a great sign that if inflation isn't coming back, boy, is that going to change the rate narrative come the next couple of months here, and on whether or not we can get a rate cut in June or July. Now, real quickly, I just want to look and see what we're seeing for the schedule for this next week. Looks like we got prime rates for China coming in Sunday. That's nothing. Monday, nothing. We got our Chicago Fed National Activity Index. That's kind of nothing. And again, Tuesday looks like we're getting PMI, Redbook, home sales, kind of the standard stuff. Nothing super interesting until maybe Thursday, Friday, when we start to get jobless claims, GDP growth rates, that kind of stuff. So that'll be very interesting. PCE prices, core PCE. So Thursday will kind of be the big day for economic data. Not a ton. Durable goods might be interesting on Wednesday. Not a ton though outside of that. So no, like more earnings related news, I think, in movement starting off the first half of this week, and then maybe economic data heading into the end of it. And geopolitical so far looks like nothing. So just think about that when you're weighing all of this. Geopolitical coming in much better than expected. No real economic data till Thursday. And what I believe, like Jeremy said, some positive earnings data. Maybe more positive than people realize for Tesla on Tuesday. We'll see. Definitely horrible delivery numbers. Or at least I should say positive guidance for Tesla that could cause positive price action. I think good reports from Meta, or at least forward guidance. Again, that could help Google. Just like everything he said, NVIDIA could get a bounce. NVIDIA dropped so much. And it was about time for it to capitulate in some way. But real quickly here, and then I'll start getting caught up on comments. I'm sorry, guys. Just talk amongst yourselves when I gab like crazy. And then I'll catch up eventually. But if we look at NVIDIA here, I mean, what a nice drop. What a nice drop. Let me just get rid of this real quick here. What did we end up dropping on NVIDIA? And I need to redo my chart here too. So let's just peek it right about there. We dropped a total of 22% roughly for NVIDIA from the top not too long ago. Nice little double top up here. Now this could go just a little bit further maybe. But honestly, I don't think it's going that far because these guys are probably going to have great earnings. I mean, it's not going to drop much further until earnings. That would be my guess. Maybe we get into the 740, 50 range. That's probably it. But what if they have great earnings too? I mean, again, I just see if earnings aren't bad, if GDP comes in good, no real economic data until Thursday where we start to see the PCE and get scared about prices. Maybe we have a good start to the week this next week. And things start to look much more positive than they have. That's my thesis, at least. And again, I'm using all these technical indicators that tell us the same thing. All right, let's see here. Hey, hi, Jeremy. All right, here we go. Johnny Utah, going to pick up another Tesla June 3:30 call with my overtime today. Hey, man, hustle will get you places in life. It definitely helped me a lot. I wasn't really great at a lot of the things I did up until investing, but I hustled a lot and I worked harder than everybody else, and it got me a lot further than I think some people get. Intelligent computing, no $69,000 BTC on 420 yesterday. Lol, oh well. Maybe 100,000 K on 5.5. That seems soon. 92 again is going to be our next like tough metric, and we could coast sideways for months. I mean, it's very possible. I can tell you this historically, and I'll have to look up the numbers to confirm it, but from my recollection, Bitcoin on a halving cycle, like when the halving has occurred, does good over the summer. So the like sell in May and go away thing doesn't really happen. And also, I showed you guys election data not too long ago that showed that instead of sell in May and go away, it's the exact opposite in an election year. So again, it seems like Bitcoin and general stock market, based upon historical data during election years and during halvings, tell us that they want to go up over the summer, which is kind of the opposite of what common knowledge probably is. All right, let me see here. What else we got? Mark LeBlanc, I appreciate that you're real and comfortable with yourself. Okay. Stick to different color shirts. I will. I don't plan on dyeing my hair every time. I'll have a lot of hair left, so I got to take care of what I do have. Don't want to, again, I'm almost 47, so probably not dyeing my hair. Mark LeBlanc, okay, skipping that comment. Intelligent computing, BTC is likely to do more than 4x over the next 12 to 18 months. Do you think Tesla will do better than this over the same time frame? And I responded with, yes, I believe it can do that with options, but I don't think it can do it without them. So I think I stand by that. JT, so many investments, so little money. Yeah, isn't that usually the case? Intelligent computing, JT, first world problems. That is true. Intelligent computing, smash the like. Yes, please. JT, I'm civilized. I press the like. That works too. Seedless, greetings. Intelligent computing, spinning top, doji on last week's DXY chart. Yeah, right? Like, you don't want to have a doji. Let me see here. That's the move. Let's go back here. Let's look at the weekly on, I think I was on the weekly. Oh, I hate it when it does this. I was on the monthly. Let's look at the weekly. Yeah, a little bit of a spinning top. That's such a baby move. It's kind of hard to know. We probably need confirmation, really, that it's going to fall further. But again, we have some things, especially on the weekly time frame, or I'm sorry, the monthly time frame. We could see some divergences forming. Nothing too crazy though. Honestly, yeah, it's not even that good. I take back what I said. I think we're just in a channel. I think we're in a channel on the dollar, and I think it could just kind of sit here for a while, maybe even slowly test higher, but that shouldn't impact the stock market. That's my take. Kane Kozlovsky, can't stay for the live, just stepped in to like the video. Thanks, Kane. Appreciate you, man. Tyler H, just catching the Sunday stream. Tyler H, beautiful day in the Midwest. Yes, it is. That's where I live too, actually, and it is beautiful. I need to get out more. I'm just waiting for it to warm up. It's still a little cold where I'm at. I'm a little up north, so. But yeah, so again, I think that if we look at a lot of different technical indicators, if we think about all the things that are happening right now, the cooling down in geopolitics, if we think about oil coming down, and again, even I'll just jump over here. I know a lot of people have been talking about, gasoline going up like crazy too, but it's actually, again, it kind of topped off a little bit this last week and dropped an extra 13 cents. That's not bad. And if we go back to the 5-year here, again, we're not like at a crazy level compared to, it started to get bad after the pandemic and after we started to just really fire off the economy 2021, 2022. That's when we were seeing that peak inflation. That's when gas really rose and got up to, over $4 a gallon. We're still at the 270, and I think we could roll over. So I just don't want people to think that inflation narrative is too strong. I really don't think it is. I would focus on what Bitcoin price action is doing over this weekend. Let's just see where we're at here. It's probably right over here. I would focus on Bitcoin for the remainder of the weekend and see if we can get above this fib line at 65.4, 65.5. If we do that heading into, Monday earnings, I think that this is going to be a really positive thing. If we even get up there tomorrow morning before open, I think it's going to be really positive, and I think it's going to be a sign that we're going higher. So that's my take, guys. I'm actually really positive heading into this next week. We'll see if I look like an ass or if I look super smart. If I look super smart, make sure you guys smash those likes heading into next week, and comment as much as you can and share the post so that other people can know the direction that we're going in and listen to somebody who knows what they're talking about. At least, I'm hoping that's what happens. So you guys take it easy. Have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll probably leave you with an outro here. Peace, guys. Bye. Oh, or maybe not, because I don't have it pulled up. I'm going to get one. Give me a second. Still working with all my tools here, guys. Still working with all my tools. I will find one. Here we go. I got one right here. Boom.
Deeply opposed to crypto.
Last year, crypto funds funded every kind of dangerous criminal.
But I would not touch crypto in a million years.
Bitcoin is going to zero.
If I was the government, I'd close it down.
People are losing money in scams and huckster flim-flam artists.
These people who own these things should not own your money anyway. I do think you're an idiot, okay?
It's over.
Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. Is that fair? I hope it is. Is that clear?